If Deku was the son of Sir Nighteye, Part 1. Now, before I do get into this, I'd just like to say I decided to try and make the thumbnails this time, so I hope they're just as good as Mega Crook's thumbnails, but they're a little off from what I think I could have done my best in. Now, getting into this what if. Izuku is born to the hero Nighteye and Inko, as they are both his parents. And from the age of 0 up until 4, he had a mostly happy childhood. Now, when he went to the quirk doctor's office, the quirk doctor would basically say how Izuku has a stronger version of Nighteye's quirk, while a somewhat stronger one. Now, how Izuku's quirk works, it's kind of like Nighteye's, as Nighteye's quirk can be used for 30 minutes once he touches somebody and looks directly into their eyes for 30 minutes, and he can see years into the future up until their person's death, and after that he can't use it for another 24 hours. However, Izuku doesn't have to touch them. All he has to do is look at them to be able to activate his quirk, and he can basically use his quirk for just around 15 minutes and can only look into that person's future 2 years ahead. But the one thing that's good about this is that instead of 24 hours, he only has to wait 10 minutes before he can use it on another person. Now, Izuku, once he would have his quirk, he would then just be trained by Nighteye, as Nighteye wanted to have Izuku become one of the greatest heroes. Now, when Izuku was the age of 10, Nighteye would contact All Might, saying that how Izuku is capable of handling One for All, and Nighteye thinks Izuku is worthy of being able to handle the quirk and become the 9th successor of it. Now, from there, All Might would then come over to Nighteye's house, to where he would look at Izuku and ask Izuku a couple questions. If he wants to be a hero and why he wants to be a hero, to which Izuku would just innocently say that he wants to be a hero to save everybody and to make everybody smile, to which All Might would then tell Izuku that he is worthy of his quirk, as All Might would then say at the age of 10 he will be able to get his quirk because All Might wants him to be a little bit more stronger than how he could be at the age of 7. Now, from there, Nighteye would, now knowing that Izuku's going to have One for All, would train Izuku extensively, so much more than he did between the ages of 4 and 7. Izuku, once he would get home, would train and then go to bed. That's pretty much how it was. Train, do homework, go to bed. That's how it was every day for 3 years until he would get One for All, as they were to meet where they would have dinner in Nighteye's house, and All Might would then just huff up into his muscular form and then give Izuku One for All. Now, if you're really wondering why All Might is still here, even though Nighteye basically yelled at All Might and then they pretty much had a rocky relationship after All Might got injured, which I think All Might got injured just around Izuku being the age of 4 or maybe even 7, I'm not quite sure. But in this what if, they stayed in touch with the Nighteye just trying to convince All Might not to do too many risky things that could get him killed. Now, once Izuku had One for All after the dinner party, I guess, Izuku would then train little less than how Nighteye was, but he'd still train a heck of a lot. He'd have 2 free days, which were the weekends of each week, and the weekdays he would train every single weekday. Now, from there, Izuku would keep on training, and 4 years would end up passing. Izuku, now in his last year of middle school, as he's sitting down in his class, as the teacher would walk in, telling the class that he's finally decided to look through all of their high school forms or where they wanted to go. To which the teacher would then just throw them up in the air, as he'd say, "Well, why do we have to turn these in when I know you all want to be heroes?" As the entire crowd or class would just start cheering, to which Bakugo would then say, "Why the hell do you think those crappy D-listers would even become heroes? At any rate, they'd just become a sidekick." As the class would then just start yelling at Bakugo, to which he wouldn't really care, as he'd say, "Come on, I'll take you all on." To which the class would then say, "Yeah, right, you couldn't beat Izuku even if you tried." To which Bakugo would then just start getting mad as he said, "The hell did you say, extra?" As the class would just start laughing at Bakugo, as he'd say, "You remember, whenever you tried bullying someone, Izuku would just beat your butt up." To which Bakugo would then say, "That's because he got lucky." As Izuku would then say, "Oh, it was luck, huh? Was it luck that you started crying to me like a little baby, huh, Bakugo?" To which Bakugo would then yell, "Shut up, Deku." Now, from there, the teacher would then say, "Whoa, class, whoa. Stop with the arguing. It appears we have 2 students going to UA, Izuku and Bakugo." To which the class would then say, "They both are going to have an easy time getting in. Izuku could definitely get in. It's pretty clear that they're going to be some of the best heroes one day." To which the entire class would just agree. Now from there, Izuku would start to walk home, to which Bakugo would then run into him and say, "You better not go to UA, stupid Deku." To which Izuku would then say, "Well, since I beat you, and I'm clearly better than you, why would I not go to UA? If I don't, then technically you wouldn't have to either." Now, Bakugo would then just stomp off, with Izuku just saying, "Well, that was weird." As Izuku would then just start walking off, as he would then see the sludge villain pop out of a sewer drain. Now, if you're wondering how much percent Izuku can handle, oh my gosh, it's an ant. Boop. Boop. Haha, I killed you, ant. Better not crawl in my Chromebook again. You're not even supposed to be in my room. You're supposed to be in my brother's room. Sorry about that, guys. Stupid ant was on my Chromebook. Hold up, guys. I'll be right back. Sorry about that, guys. I don't like ants in my room because they're infested in my brother's room. Now, where was I? Izuku's percentage that he can use is just around 30%, meaning at the age of 12, Izuku unlocked Black Whip, but he prefers not to use it. Now, from there, Izuku would easily just wind back his fist and just say smash, as the sludge villain would blow away, just being absolutely splattered all over the sides of this underpass, as All Might would then pop out of a sewer drain as he'd say, "Ah, Izuku, have you seen a sludge villain?" To which Izuku would then point all around the walls of the overpass, to which All Might would then thank him, starting to put the sludge villain into a 2-liter bottle. From there, Izuku would just walk home, as he would see All Might jump away, as he would then see the bottle fly out of All Might's pants, to which Izuku would then say, "Damn it, All Might, you dropped the damn sludge villain." As Izuku would then start running round until he hears an explosion. He would see Bakugo trapped in the sludge villain, with him trying to take over Bakugo's body, to which Izuku would then hop over all of the civilians and heroes, as he would then wind back his fist and punch the sludge villain just like he did before, splattering it all over the wall and saving Bakugo, who is now knocked out. As All Might would then jump down and say, "Ah, good going, young lad," as he would then get the sludge villain back into another 2-liter bottle or soda bottle. Now, from there, Izuku would just walk home with being praised by the heroes, which he would think nothing of it, as he'd go home with his father, Nighteye, just telling him he did a good job saving Bakugo, as Izuku would then say it was pretty much nothing, the sludge villain was quite weak. Now, from there, 10 months would pass with Izuku just training a tad bit harder, as he would then unlock 35% One for All, as he would walk into UA, as he would sit down in an auditorium, to where President Mike would hand out all of the test papers and tell all of the class they have 3 hours and to begin. From there, Izuku would finish it in just around 45 minutes, as he would turn it in faster than anybody and just would decide to take a nap, trying to save as much energy for the other exam that he was going to have to take in just around 2 hours and 15 minutes. Now from there, Izuku would wake up. As President Mike would say, now that all the test papers are turned in, I can finally start to explain the practical exam. Now from here, you'll have 3 robots that you have to defeat. The 1-pointer, the 2-pointer, and the 3-pointer. From there, a blue-haired kid would raise his hand and say, but President Mike, on this pamphlet there's 4 robots. And you, as Ida would then point at Izuku and say, if you're just gonna sleep this whole time, I suggest you leave. To which Izuku would then say, well, if you're gonna interrupt everybody, I suggest you leave. Now from there, President Mike would then just start coughing as he'd say, well, where I was about to get, there's a 4th robot, the 0-pointer. It's mostly just a distraction. I suggest you guys all just avoid it. To which the entire class would just, or which the entire people there would just say yes, as President Mike would start handing out these little cards, and each of them would have a letter on them, from A, B, or C. Izuku would get an A card, as he would then go on into this type of tunnel place, to where Izuku, with just waiting with a bunch of other people, would be waiting for something else to happen. Now from there, Izuku would then see the doors opening, as he would then rush out, starting to just punch all of the random robots around there, defeating most of them. Now remember, Izuku having full cowling, he can easily just defeat most of them. Now if you're wondering when Izuku's Nighteye or quirk going to come in handy, it's going to come in handy when he's fighting people, as that's really when it's useful. When it's fighting robots, it's not really useful. Now from there, Izuku would continue just to fight all of these robots, getting up to 150 points. Now from there, he would hear the ground shake and buildings starting to collapse, as he'd look up as he'd see a massive 0-pointer, as he would then say, damn, that looks big, as he would use his quirk on that 0-pointer to see where it was going to move. He would see that it was about to step right onto a girl, as Izuku would then just start running right at the girl as he jump up and punch the 0-pointer right in the head, just like he did in Canon, but this time not breaking his arm, as he'd fall back down, as he would then land and just take the boulder off of Uraraka and run her to safety. And now a quick ad break before I get back into this what if. It's over, we can get back into this what if. Now, Izuku would have saved Uraraka, and then President Mike would come over the speakers and say that the test is now over, and that everybody can go back to their houses. Izuku would go back to his house, to which Nighteye would then say he looked into Izuku's future, and it's pretty impossible. It's very easily known that Izuku's going to make it into UA, to which Izuku would then just say, oh, well that was unexpected, as Izuku would then just go and sleep, as he would wait the 2 weeks until he'd get a letter in the mail. Now that letter would just say Izuku made it into UA, and he's in class 1A, go get his uniform or some stupid thing like that, to which Izuku would just get his uniform, and then a couple days would pass, Izuku would get his uniform on and walk into UA, as he would find class 1A and just sit down, waiting for class to start. To which Aizawa would walk into the room, as he would then just start talking about what they will be doing on their first day of school, and how they're gonna be doing a test, and the last 2 people will get expelled, as Aizawa would then hand them all PE uniforms to get them all on once they go to the locker rooms. Now from there, they'd get all of those on as they'd arrive in testing ground C, as Aizawa would throw a ball to Izuku and tell Izuku to throw it as hard as he can. Izuku would activate full cowling, as Izuku would just chuck the ball as far as possible to where the ball would then just go around 1,500 meters, to which Aizawa would then just clap as he'd say, "Alright, Bakugo, you were second in the entrance exam. Here, you throw it now." To which Bakugo would then throw the ball using a massive explosion to propel it, and that would only get 705 meters, to which he would just angrily say, "What? This game's rigged!" To which Aizawa would then say, "Yeah, sure, you can believe whatever you want. This is not rigged at all." As Bakugo would then just storm off as the rest of the tests would happen. Izuku, of course, getting first, Bakugo in second, Todoroki in third, Momo in fourth, and the rest of the class just doesn't really matter, besides Mineta and Toro. And for the sake of my memory, Aizawa would just say that they're still in UA because he saw all of them were worthy and had great potential. As I remember, whenever I expel Mineta, I usually end up saying he has some type of stupid role, and then people say, "Oh, well, Mineta got expelled in part 1 because you guys have greater memories than I do somehow, even though I can remember how it was when I was 5. Yeah, that's kind of stupid that I can't remember what it was me recording yesterday, but I can remember 5, 10, 20 years ago. Why did I just say 5, 10, 20 years? I'm an idiot. Izuku would, of course, just go back to his house, tell his dad how he did, as his dad would just say, "Cool." Now, the next day, Izuku would arrive in Class 1A, as he would hear stomping from down the hall, or at least that's what he thought it was, only to have the door smash off of its hinges with All Might running in, saying, "I am your heroics teacher." To which the entire class would just say, "Whoa, All Might's teaching us for our hero class? That's pretty cool." Now from there, All Might would then just start to explain what they will be doing, as All Might would say that they're doing a Heroes vs. Villains assignment, and that's pretty much it. As the entire class would just be like, "Alright, cool." Now Izuku would have something like his uniform, or his hero suit that he has in canon, but not really. It's kind of like Nighteye's, kind of not. It's kind of hard to figure out. You guys can know what his suit is. You guys can imagine it however you guys want. Now, Izuku would just walk down as he'd be put on teams with Uraraka against Todoroki and Bakugo. From there, Izuku would then just tell Uraraka that his quirk allows him to see into the future of somebody by a couple years, so if he did it on Bakugo, it would be pretty easy to tell his movements. So from there, they just walk in, as Izuku would hear stomping from down the hall, as he would see Bakugo cross the corner, as he'd say, "It's time for me to end this, Izuku." To which Izuku would use his quirk on Bakugo to see Bakugo is about to punch or start his attack with a left hook, to which Izuku would dodge and punch Bakugo in the stomach, to which Bakugo would then send an explosion, to which Izuku would then dodge and punch him right back, which would send him flying into a wall, leaving him dazed, and Izuku would just tie him up and just hit his neck using a neck chop, knocking him out, as Izuku would then start walking up to the top layer, which would take them just around 5 minutes, which would, I believe, reset his quirk. I think it was 5 to 10 minutes for his quirk to reset. As Izuku would walk in, seeing Todoroki right there, as Izuku would then say, "Give up, Todoroki, so I'll have to easily beat you." To which Todoroki would then say, "Not happening," as he'd send a tiny iceberg right at Izuku, which he already would have used his quirk on him, easily dodging it, just holding Uraraka, jumping back, to which he would then just send a punch, breaking all of the ice, sending shards of ice that are very sharp right at Todoroki, to which would just cause Todoroki not to be paying attention to Uraraka, to which he would then sneak around and touch the bomb. And that's where part 1 is going to be left off. I thank you all for watching this What If. I hope you guys did enjoy, And goodbye.